What's up, YouTube? I'm about to open up this Akai MPD32 a second time to get a little bit more sensitivity on certain pads. So here we go. Now, as most of you know, the MPD32 pads basically suck. The sensitivity is terrible. As a control surface, it's really good. You know, the faders, the rotaries, you know, the buttons that could be momentary or toggle. I dig that. And the transport control, you know, for my sequencer, I use Sonar 6 Home Studio. Works flawlessly, but as far as pads go, programming beats, not so good, man. I got a PadKontrol. PadKontrol's pads are excellent. The response is super sensitive. You can get a lot of dynamics out of them. I mean, as a pad, you know, you got two knobs and like two buttons. You know, you got the XY pad, which is really cool, but you know, which is useful in live. I like the PadKontrol's pads, but that's about all I use it for. I wanted to use the MPD32 as a control surface slash pad unit, and the pads, you know, like I said, out of the box, they're just terrible. You have to pound them to get them to make sound. So, anyone who would disagree, I don't know, man. You guys must have stronger hands than me, but compared to the PadKontrol, this thing's a pain in the ass. So basically, here's the MPD32 open. Underneath this board right here is where the pads are. And basically, you know, it's one big sheet of rubber, as all you MPC users know. And there's a major design flaw with this thing. There's a lot of air in between from the pad to the sensor. What I did is I put little squares of black electrical tape on the bottom of each pad to eliminate the air in between the you know, from the rubber pad to the sensor. And it's worked really good, but I'm gonna add a little bit more tape to a few of the pads because most of them are pretty responsive. And here's another advantage to eliminating the gap between the pad and the sensor. The MPD32 has a threshold and a sensitivity in there, like a velocity curve basically. And you know, even at maximum sensitivity and minimum threshold, the pads still suck. When you decrease that space in between, you know, using the little squares of black electrical tape, you get a much more responsive thing. And if it's too sensitive, you know, you just crank up the threshold to, you know, a few numbers, and you know, decrease the sensitivity a little bit. The Akai pad defaults at 16, or no, it defaults at sensitivity 10, which means you really got to bang it. But even at sensitivity 16, it's just terrible. So anyway, there's the sensors. Sensors right here. Alright. And this is the pad sheet. And I got 4 squares on a lot of these. So that's what we're looking at. Alright, so here's the test. Basically a huge difference in the response. I'm barely pushing down. Nice and light. I got it set to full level. You know, so it's always outputting 127 velocity, you know, the highest MIDI velocity, but here's the great thing about it. You can't do this when the pad's regularly, with the pad's regular settings. You know, fast triplets. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's about. Alright, so, pretty cool shit. Here's a set without full velocity. Pretty responsive still. Light gets a signal. I have the MIDI set to, let's see, pad sensitivity 16, pad curve A, pad threshold 2. You know, it's good. It's especially evident on the note repeat. So we'll do a little bit of a beat here, note repeat. So much better. To everyone at Akai Professional, you got to watch those design flaws, all right? Because we're getting a little pissed off. Some people can deal with this shit, you know, right out of the box. Not me. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody.